What's up, guys? It's Monday, February 6th, and this is Newswave. Before we get started, guys, I want to say congratulations to New England Patriots for winning Super Bowl 51. I don't know what happened to the Falcons in the second half, but I do assume that Bill Belichick finally found the correct stolen playbook in the second half, and then they went and led their team on to victory, so congratulations to the Patriots. Oh, I promise that's all I'm going to say about the Patriots. That's my one shot. Don't worry. I'm not, obviously, I'm a 49ers fan, so, congratulations, Patriots, though. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Overwatch, specifically how the developers simply don't seem to want us to use keyboard and mouse on the console versions, like the PS4 or the Xbox One, unless it's fair across basically all planes. So if you're a console user and using a controller, they don't want you going up against a console user who is using a keyboard and mouse. And this was outlined on their message boards over on their forums for battle.net. You'll see it here. Jeff Kaplan, a game director for Overwatch, simply stated, the Overwatch team objects to the use of keyboard and mouse on console. We have contacted both first-party console manufacturers and expressed our concern about the use of mouse and keyboard and input conversion devices. We have lobbied and will continue to lobby for first-party console manufacturers to either disallow mouse and keyboard and input conversion devices or openly and easily support mouse and keyboard for all players. So this is not unreasonable as people online are making this out to be. They simply want it to be fair across basically all platforms. I understand this because a keyboard and mouse has the potential of being better than the controllers, depending on whose hands they're in, of course. If a very skilled PC player goes up against a very skilled console player, the PC player will probably win just because of the added accuracy of the mouse and, of course, the macro keys and all kinds of bindings you do on the keyboard. And this is pretty much in response to people who are using conversion kits. Now, there are kits that let you plug in a keyboard and mouse to a PS4 and an Xbox One, even if it's not supported in a game, and that keyboard and mouse will just basically mimic the controller. So then all of a sudden, instead of using a controller, you're using a keyboard and mouse in a game that does not allow it. We'll keep an eye on this because this actually might be the little push in the right direction for Microsoft and Sony to actually start allowing keyboard and mouse support in all games. And then at that point, there's not a huge separation, obviously, between a PS4 and Xbox One and a PC, because now you're just using a slightly underpowered PC at that point. And in a recent interview with IGN, Hideo Kojima himself talked about his thoughts on the Switch and what he likes about it. Now, this is interesting because Kojima has been trying to push along an idea that he has even coined with a made-up word, something he just made up, because he does like the idea of the Switch, again, because it mimics something he calls transfarring. Now, this word, transfarring, means being able, in his mind, means being able to go from your computer or your game system and then take it on the go with you. And that's what the Switch does. It enables you to go from a home console and then immediately leave with your handheld. And this was done with Kojima's idea for Peace Walker, where you could play on the PS3 and then move over to the PSP at the time. You could almost basically send your saves back and forth. And basically in the interview, he says, I believe the Switch is an extension of that idea. The fact you can play something at home and take it outside, this is the gamer's dream. The Switch is an evolution of that. And now, of course, he is talking about his transfarring coined word that he's been kind of throwing around. He was talking about this, guys, back in like 2010, 2011. So this has been on his mind for a while. I would be shocked if Kojima does not eventually to do something for the Switch, whether he designs a game or maybe helps out a team with like a vision for a game, storyboarding. I have a feeling he wants to be a part of the Switch because it does coincide with all the different ideas he had before, like 5 or 6 years ago. We also got word now that Fire Emblem Heroes is actually doing pretty well. It's made some money and it's been downloaded quite a few times. So in its first day, this is being reported by Sensor Tower, they're reporting that Fire Emblem Heroes has actually been downloaded 2 million times as of the first day it came out, and it's actually grossed already in sales 2.9 million. That is, of course, through their cash shop where you can buy gems and then summon more people. Now, this, of course, is still not as much as Mario Run or Pokemon Go, but Fire Emblem is not as big as Mario or Pokemon Go with the mainstream. Fire Emblem is a smaller genre, a smaller game, basically, in accordance to those. However, this is a free-to-play game, so of course it is going to pass Mario Run eventually, as long as they keep updating it, because they've already said they're not adding anything else to Mario Run, so eventually there won't be anything left to buy for Mario Run because everyone have bought it, but Fire Emblem Heroes, I'm sure, will keep adding people, and that'll just go on to be another type of game like Clash of Clans or something like that. Maybe not the extent of Clash of Clans because that makes a ton of money, but you never know. Fire Emblem has a great lore to it, a good backstory, and they can kind of play around with it as they go along. However, don't be surprised if it does pass Super Mario Run after its first month, to be honest. Oh, and if you were like me and you pre-ordered Zelda Breath of the Wild at GameStop, get ready to be excited because they are actually giving everyone who's pre-ordered with them an awesome looking poster. Check this thing out real quick. This is the poster you will get when you go to pick up your copy of the game at launch. It is an awesome looking poster. I would recommend, if you have not pre-ordered it with GameStop, but you are intending to eventually pick the Switch up, you could even go throw in a pre-order and go pick it up if you're still looking for the Switch, and at least get this poster if you really like it. Otherwise, think of it as an added benefit to the game when you go to pick it up, because I know I'll be going to pick it up at midnight. I'll be getting Breath of the Wild and a couple other things, and it's great that I'll get a nice little extra, like a poster like this, that I'll just hang up or do something with. Good on GameStop. Also, it looks like For Honor is not showing up to game publishers or reviewer sites until the day it comes out. So basically all these people you see online, IGN, Giant Bomb, Polygon, all these places that review games, even smaller indie sites or YouTubers, they won't be getting the review copies that they're used to getting a few days in advance, sometimes up to a week in advance. They'll be getting it the day it comes out. And this has been kind of a controversial subject here, because a lot of people in the first place say that these places should not be getting free copies of the game, but even so, you usually at least need an advance copy to complete a review to then put out on your publication, whether it's a website or a YouTube channel or any other way to reach gamers who have to make a decision on launch day if the thing's worth $60. So in some ways, people look at this and say, hey, good, they need to go buy their own game, or they need to at least wait. I don't think that's the case. You need the game early so you can make a fair judgment. The problem now is that it's a race to the finish line to play the game and then put it out, because there's no embargo date, as far as I can tell, because you get it the day it comes out, because usually they'll slap an embargo on it. So everyone has 4 or 5 days to go ahead and review the game, and then there is a specific date when everyone can just go in there and click publish on their game. And that's the way it's worked for a lot of games in the past. Well, now you have to wait till the day it comes out to get it, and then scramble for a day or two to play all the way through it, come to what are probably rushed conclusions, and then put it out for the people who want to know, is it worth buying this game for $60? It's also a way for these companies that make the games to avoid a bad review on its initial launch day, and something that could actually kill off sales, or at least put a dent in them. No, they're not going to kill your sales, but they could hurt them. This sounds like it'll also affect YouTubers who want to show you the game. A lot of times, look, if you don't want to trust a reviewer, that's fine, but it's good to have a way to at least see the game played with someone's honest opinion, just kind of playing it. And a lot of the Let's Players on YouTube will even get these games early to try them out. Not now, though, so that's going to be interesting. I hope For Honor is good, because otherwise there's going to be a lot of really annoyed people out there buying the game, realizing that they can't see a review until like the 3rd day in. You'll see things on IGN like review in progress. That's because they didn't get the game until it came out, or it's an online game like Destiny that they have to at least play with other people to tell if it's good or not. But we'll keep an eye on this to see if anything else happens. For Honor comes out February 14th, so not too much longer, another week and a half. We'll see what happens. And if you have not heard, it's all over the internet, so probably Club Penguin is shutting down. Now, I remember Club Penguin when that came out. That was back in 2005. I was still in high school, and it was more for kids, obviously, but at the time, it was different because it was kind of a controlled community by the mod team to try to keep out a lot of the, the trolls, how we know them now. Back then, we didn't really know trolls as they are today. However, it was extremely popular. A lot of people played it. A lot of kids played it. Even today, they still report that they have 150 million active accounts, which is a lot of accounts. Now, they're not completely killing Club Penguin. It's just kind of being modernized, if you think about it, because it's moving to the mobile handheld device for like phones and tablets, and that's going to be called Club Penguin Island. The one thing I do like, though, is that developers kind of have been having some fun before the shutdown happens in March, and they're doing things like flipping an iceberg. Now, if you don't know, since 2005, this has been kind of a rumor that if enough penguins get on one side of an iceberg and drill, it will eventually flip. Now, that was just a rumor made up, so technically wasn't real. So what do? They let everybody who wants to flip an iceberg. There was a big YouTube video on it, and I guess it was strangely satisfying, I will say that. So don't worry, you'll still be able to play a version of Club Penguin. Again, it's going to be mostly just on cell phones and tablets. It's more to be modernized because now kids aren't really playing on their computers as much. They're more playing on their cell phones, their tablets. You know, Minecraft Pocket Edition is extremely popular. So you have to kind of move on to what the kids are doing now, which is on their iPhone, on their iPods, on their iPads. Makes sense to me to do this, to just move everyone over. I'm sure it'll be easier for them anyway. And if you missed my other video about the PS4 boost mode, you should go check that out. They are bringing out a version of the 4.5 firmware for beta testers where they are getting something enabled called boost mode. What boost mode does is it allows the PS4 Pro to increase its clock speed for games that can't necessarily use that clock speed before. Remember, before you would need a patch from the developers to enable Pro mode, if you want to call it that, or boost mode, where it would use the extra power for things like better frame rates, maybe higher resolution for 4K. In this case, though, it's going to give better frame rates for things that have unlocked frames, or maybe it has a dynamic resolution that's going to probably keep it closer to the top of that dynamic resolution rather than dropping down between like 900p and 1080p. It'll stay at that higher resolution because it'll have enough power to do so. Now, this is still just kind of for beta users. They're going to be rolling it out, what I've been hearing, next month. So we'll see how that goes over. Now, part of this update is also giving people the ability to use an external hard drive. USB 3 hard drives can now be plugged in, and you can use that for extra space rather than upgrade your internal hard drive. It does currently support up to 8 terabytes of space, so you won't run out of space at all. In fact, you can get a 4 terabyte hard drive on Amazon right now for like $100. I'll actually leave the link in the description for you guys if you want to check that out. About $110 gets you a 4 terabyte drive. That's a good bit of space. You probably won't run out of it anytime soon. And our last bit of news comes from the movie site IMDb. You've probably used it several times to look up reviews, or maybe you want to remember that actor in that movie you're watching. That is a great place to go to learn all that information. Well, what's happening is they are actually shutting down their message boards. They've pretty much had it with all the internet trolls. Apparently according to everybody, that's a great place to go if you want to troll people, because you can argue with people about movies to the end of time, and you can just keep picking at them and they'll just keep typing back, apparently. There's also somehow been a ton of things like racial issues on there, sexism, all kinds of stuff somehow is transpiring on IMDb's message boards and forums. Now, keep in mind, they've also been around for a long time. This is actually about 16 years that these forums have been around. I mean, a long time, since like 2000. So yes, it's accumulated a lot of people who have probably been doing this for a while, which is picking at people and bullying them, and they want to try to make it a more positive place to go, IMDb. So how do you do that? You just silence everyone. You can't do anything. It's read-only. You know, there's no writing, and to them, I guess that's a good thing. Now, it does look like they will still let people write reviews, for example. If you want to review a movie as a user review, you can do that. You just cannot go on the message boards and yell at people all the time. Probably not a good idea on IMDb's part if what they're saying is true, if they want to try to create a more positive and interesting experience, because these people are just going to go somewhere else and do it, and I get it, they don't want it on their site, but according to like traffic statistics, that message board was still hit like 5 to 6 million times a month, so it was getting hit a lot by unique users, so they are cutting down a good bit of their traffic. I just hope they're prepared for that. I assume they are. They understand that they're going to lose traffic, but again, if you want to make a more positive experience, I understand that you don't want the 1 out of every 10,000 people who come on there and just, badger people and make fun of them. They're just going to go somewhere else, though. It's just not IMDb's problem. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Let me know what you think of the different topics. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Hideo Kojima's talking about the Switch, or maybe your thoughts on the Overwatch dev not liking keyboard and mouse. Maybe he doesn't like the keyboard and mouse versus controller. Let me know what you think about that debate. Or are you going to miss Club Penguin? Did you grow up with it? Were you around in 2005 when it came around? And are you going to play the mobile game when that comes out? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I will see you next time.